Yeah.
I start.
Yeah.
I never start.
You start this time.
Fair enough. Welcome to Orc Rogues. My name is Derek.
And my name is Thomas.
And today we're going to be doing a very special review of Star Wars Rogue One.
Now, for those of you watching this, be aware that there are spoilers coming. We are talking about the entire movie, beginning to end. If you have not seen it yet and do not want it spoiled for you, go watch our other video, which is going to have a spoiler-free review, as well as some other stuff on it.
Yeah, definitely do not watch this film. As we mentioned, there are spoilers. Have we mentioned there are spoilers?
We have mentioned there are spoilers. By the way, there might
spoilers.
also be a couple of spoilers.
Yeah.
So
if you watch this movie and, get spoiled and there are spoilers, don't blame us. You have been warned. It's in the title.
It's in the description.
And you just heard it. So
And just to be sure, we will be spoiling this movie for you if you have not seen it.
I think that's enough. That said, if you have not seen the film and you don't give a flip that there are spoilers,
Then watch on.
watch on because I think pretty interesting. Honestly,
It was a great movie. Oh, this is beginning
Beginning.
the time
This is
period.
beginning, yeah.
If you have not watched it, click away. Otherwise, you've been warned. No, it was a phenomenal movie. It really was.
I was just thrilled. I mean, it was so much more than I expected. Actually,
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really good, guys.
When you look back at The Force Awakens, when it came out, the biggest complaint was that it was cookie cutter. It was the exact same plot points
It was
as A New Hope.
It was good.
It was wonderful.
I really enjoyed it, but it was A New Hope. I mean,
This was not. This was not cookie cutter of any other plot I've ever seen, except for one. We'll get back to that in a little bit. It did remind me of another
I do have to
story.
admit that I will go ahead and say that the Force Awakens though, was a little different in that it had a more masculine protagonist. Not that she's masculine. I mean, honestly, it's just Luke, man.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. I love
But
it.
I was
Don't
going
get
to
me wrong,
Tashi
man.
Station to get some power converters.
I love Luke Skywalker. I really do. I'm a huge fan of the original films, but yeah, man, that's pretty rough. This film, though, I mean, my God,
This was amazing.
You know what? We should actually let you know that it is 2 in the morning, and
Just saw it.
we just got back from seeing it, and I'll be honest, I did not think I was going to be doing the review right now.
Also,
it is late for me.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
old,
late.
and
You are old.
I really am, and it is past my bedtime. So, but man, I'm actually pretty awake. I'll be honest.
It's a good time where we're psyched.
I am excited.
Um,
about this film.
Also, to let you know, we are both addicts. So we will both be using our fancy dancy electronic cigarettes, like all the cool kids are doing while we're doing this, because we did not get a chance to vape for like 3 hours. While
Actually, no, yeah, it's
Yeah.
closer to 3.
While
It says a 2 hour and 13-minute movie, I believe.
but we were there an hour early, of course, because we wanted good seats to a movie that 4 people came to.
Yep, absolutely, and also to get really expensive trinkets.
Seriously, like $8.
Yeah, it was connected to a cup. Yeah, I mean I'm such a sucker.
You really are.
Yeah, but
But I wasn't stopping you.
no, it was cool, and I'm fine. I am okay with being a sucker and nothing. So where should we start? We should start actually with, I guess, the beginning.
It is a very good place to start.
The beginning of the film. One thing, if you may have already come across this, they do the galaxy far, far away, and then no scrolling.
No.
No scrolling words.
Which is okay.
No story.
I mean, it's not one of the films in the saga. It is a standalone. I'm okay with the fact that there's no scrolling backstory. We know well, that's not true. This is the
is the
entire
backstory.
movie is a scrolling
This
backstory
is actually
for A
the
New
story
Hope,
backstory, yeah.
which is nice.
It
It's
actually
nice.
makes I won't lie, it bugged me a tiny bit just because I'm so used to it being there.
It was jarring.
It really was.
That was my issue with it. It
But-
was jarring.
But that said, it makes complete sense because you're absolutely
Mm-hmm.
right. I mean, the whole movie is actually the scrolling.
Granted, I'm
to be
comparing
fair, for
that to
anybody
being
that's kinda like
jarring
just-
to the opening fanfare in Star Wars, which is pretty jarring in and of itself.
Oh gosh, in the original, the
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
episode 4. Oh man, it's for folks that had never seen anything like that before. I can't even imagine. You know,
Yeah.
like for me, and like I'm old, but I'm not that old. Like I wasn't there when it came out. You know, that's not true.
Oh my gosh, you were there, weren't you?
I was a little bitty baby, but you know, like. But I've seen other films that have big openings, things like that. But honestly, Star Wars has one of the original one has like one of the biggest openings in the history
Oh, yeah.
of movies. I can't even fathom what they must have been thinking when they saw it the first time. Also, special effects, nothing like that had really ever been done.
That's very true. So what were some
We're
of
not going
the
to describe the whole
No.
movie to you. Honestly.
not that much of a spoiler? I think we can get sued for that actually.
Can we?
I don't know. I'll throw it out there. Why not? Just in
I don't know
case.
if
Let's not do
Disney would
this.
that. Lucas probably would.
Oh no, Disney would.
Disney might. I don't know.
But what were some of the points that stuck out to you when you were watching it?
Oh man, okay. Well, real briefly, let me just say that for the most part, I thought all the actors and actresses did an excellent job. I thought it was really well acted.
Oh, I agree.
The
You know who I have the biggest complaint about acting wise? And granted, I love this actor. He is phenomenal. The first time he did this, he was phenomenal. But I was really disappointed with James Earl Jones as Darth Vader.
me too. I hate to say it, but me too. I love James Earl Jones' voice, man. He's got an
Oh,
amazing
absolutely.
voice.
But I heard James Earl Jones when I watched this. I did not hear Darth Vader.
I did too. Yeah, I did the same thing. You know what's sad? Part of me really. I don't want to take this away from James Earl Jones.
No, not at all.
And I forget his name, but we talked about him I think briefly last time. The guy that actually played Darth Vader
Right.
in the thing. Did you watch that documentary?
I did.
I am your father, I believe it is.
Yes, I did. It was very good.
They have one little brief scene in that where he being older. Is he still around? You know. I think he is.
Yeah, he's still he's old, but he's still alive.
But now being older, they had he did a Vader voice.
That's
And
right, and he was
nailed it.
yes.
He sounded like Vader. He sounded like James Earl Jones, except honestly a little more menacing.
Yeah, and that was the thing about this portrayal of Vader.
Yeah.
When he spoke, he wasn't menacing. It wasn't scary. Granted, we were discussing earlier that entire scene. The first scene where you see Vader, he
That's
gets
scary,
smirked
man.
at.
Yeah, he's not that scary. He gets mocked. He gets mocked by Krennic.
Yeah, Krennic. He chose Krennic out as Vader is liable to do. Let's go, and Krennic smirks at him.
Yeah, it was a really weird scene, and
It's like Vader.
I mean Krennic.
You're a friggin' pussy.
Krennic pretty much makes it to the end, and is in like the little climax
Yeah.
part. And honestly, I mean, Middleton I think did a great job, but I don't. Think,
He did.
I don't think he needed to be there the whole movie.
No,
Like, I would have been perfectly happy if Vader just killed him right there. Like to me, that would have been Vader. Vader would have just been, dude, you're choking you out, you're dead, and next in line, like you did in the first one. He was like, okay, you've just been promoted. It's like he gets up someone on a cell phone. He's like, hey man, dude just died, and you got the job.
Yep.
You
Go
get to
down
see
the
that-
ladder.
You get to see that fear bit too, and when every time he did that, like the guy's not really happy. I'm promoted. Damn. My life sucks. It's
I could be next.
but I have to jump since we're Vadering.
Okay,
At the moment,
yeah.
I have to jump ahead a little bit to the end. When we see Vader there, and parts of it, you mentioned the suit. I agree. The suit could have been better. I don't. Something was
Right.
awful. I couldn't like. I mean, he's probably better at nailing down what was awful on the suit. I just knew that something wasn't quite right. That said, when you see him come into the rebel ship,
Yes, it was.
he is terrifying.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, that is the just that is one of the most terrifying pictures of Vader I've seen in
Yes.
a very very long time. I mean, you get this genuine, and the actors that played the rebels in that.
Oh, they sold it.
I mean, these
they
guys,
sold it.
They're pretty much just extras, and my gosh, they nailed it. Every single one of them, like the looks on their faces, the scrambling to get away, they were terrified. Like part of me almost wonders if they didn't do something else just to scare the crap out of these guys.
I kind of want to rewatch it and see if any of them legitimately wet their pants. I mean, they are wearing like these khaki pants, so you could tell.
You could tell. Yeah. They were. Those guys actually did a great job.
Wonderful.
They were terrified.
Totally made up for the I'm not going to choke you Vader that we saw earlier in the movie.
It did. It was like a 180 on Vader, honestly. It was the first time you see Vader, you're like, it's not the Vader I remember. But also, I guess part of this, though, we have to think that this is not the Vader we remember.
That's true. This is a
leading up
Vader
to-
that we've never met,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, so
and
this
that's
is-
something I was going to mention. Is that this Vader is Anakin turned to the dark side? Yes, several years later after Revenge of the Sith, but we still don't know exactly what he's been through.
Right.
And maybe this was actually the event that set his anger off to that level. I doubt that's the case because we do have some information from like Star Wars Rebels that is canon. Neither of us are as familiar with that as I personally wish I were. But there is a lot of information
I
in there.
personally think that Vader is just absolutely furious about having been played by Hayden Christensen at one point. That's my personal thought on why Vader's ticked off.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. You were talking about the costume earlier.
Yeah, what was it?
There were two things. First of all, the cape was different from the cape that we all remember.
Was it really? I missed
It
that.
was. Because it was the cape from episode 4.
Okay.
From the first time that he boards the cruiser.
Ship war.
Corvette.
Yeah.
Corvette. The Corellian Corvette.
Is that really what it's called?
Yes, it is.
I didn't know that.
It has where the cape's completely over the shoulder pads. In later movies, the cape was under the shoulder pads.
That's right.
And
I forgot about it. Yeah, that's right. I actually forgot about it.
and the other thing, I don't know why this happened, but the helmet didn't seem. It seemed to be from a different mold
Part of me
because
wonders if
the
they
neck was wrong.
Yeah, part of me wonders if they weren't trying to fix it.
Possibly.
Which I mean, honestly, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I remember seeing a making of behind the scenes kind of thing about the original helmet, and it wasn't quite right. It was actually like a little. It wasn't symmetrical. Like something was a little off on it.
Right.
And to be honest, you can't really tell. I mean, when you're watching the film, I mean, when they pointed that out, I was actually a little stunned. I even tried to go back and see it, and I never did. I never saw the error.
Though, the lenses in the mask were beautiful.
I hate to say it, but I actually completely missed that.
They were red.
So,
They were vividly red.
were they really?
Yeah.
Wow,
It was.
I missed that.
It was really
I
nice.
don't know how I missed that, but I did. I absolutely completely missed
I'm amazed. It almost looked
that. I was
like from
focused on
here up on the fair from here up on the mask, the helmet. It almost looked like that drawing. I don't know if you've seen it, the original concept art drawing,
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that.
where it's a little bit more angular. The eyes are red, and it's scary looking, really scary looking. They nailed more of that
Vader's
look.
a scary character, man.
He is.
He is. He's one of the scariest characters. Which is honestly why the whole Hayden Christensen thing just irks me.
He was not scary.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna get hung up on that, but I am actually.
You are.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stay on that subject, but I mean, he's just not scary, man. Just not. Let's see other characters. What else should I mean? God, there's so much to cover, and why is your phone on the floor?
Oh, because I threw it because somebody texted me and it made a noise, and we're in the middle of something.
Okay, fair enough.
It was probably my wife, in which case, I love you.
That's pretty funny, dude.
Let's talk about Donnie Yen.
Oh man, okay. I am a Donnie Yen fan, man. I've been a Donnie Yen fan for years, and I was thrilled to see him in like a major picture, man.
You know what I was surprised by?
Dude, he's amazing. He is absolutely amazing.
You know what amazed me about him? He was funny.
Donnie Yen has a great sense of humor.
He had
Yeah,
these
he's a fun guy.
amazing, just hilarious moments.
His timing is really good.
Yes.
I will say this is hey, maybe it's not the first. It's one of the first times I've seen, like, most of the time he's if you're not familiar with Donnie Yen, I mean, a lot of people are not. At least in the States, I should say. He is a huge action star in China. And, I mean, like, along the lines of Jet Li and Jackie Chan, and I mean, he's a major motion picture star.
Right.
And he is, I mean, also too, he is a legit martial artist. I mean, it's not, smoke and mirrors. It's not just some dude that's just been trained a little bit in martial arts. I mean, he is like a he's won the Wushu championship multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a badass, and but he's also an amazing actor. I mean, like if you look at his facial expressions and all that sort of stuff, this is one of the first times I've heard him like speaking English like on a regular basis though, and I was impressed. I mean, most of the time I see him, he's speaking Chinese, and which is fine, subtitles and whatnot, but
And he had relatively no accent.
no, he didn't. I was a little surprised at that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think I've heard like some interviews with him where I mean, he spoke like this, but for some reason I didn't remember that. And but no, his one of the things he's really good at and has been in every single film I've seen him in. But yeah, his facial expressions, he seems like very genuine. Like like when you see him in this film, when he's smiling, he's genuinely smiling. Like it reaches his eyes, and he's just in this thing. It is hard not to care for his character. His character is just. I mean, aside from being a total badass.
Oh yeah, no.
And I mean, he is just. I mean, you just like him. He's very very likable character. And the whole the force is with me. I am one with the force bit is just funny. It's just great.
His character, to me,
I was never really clear if he was Jedi.
I'm pretty certain he was just the biggest Jedi fanboy ever in the galaxy.
It may be. I mean,
because
he missed a really good chance to be a Jedi, though. I mean,
I mean, as an actor or as a character?
No, I mean as a character.
I don't think he did.
Cause,
I don't think he was force sensitive.
Well, that may be true, but I like when you watch him, you kind of think this dude may actually kick the ass of a Jedi.
Everything that he did,
So cool.
everything his character did in the movie seemed very sense based. The whole heightened sense
That
from,
is actually really true, yeah.
because, and of course his character in the movie's blind, and there's that whole, if you're blind, your other senses are much more heightened.
Right.
And it seems like he had that sort of thing going on to an incredible degree to where it was just trained into him. Which, granted, maybe not to the degree that the character did in the movie, but it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
But he seemed more of
I've
a...
seen it in other movies.
He's more of a Daredevil than he is a Superman.
Yeah.
Though completely different universes. A little ashamed of myself for that. More of a Daredevil than a Captain America.
Three different universes there actually. Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Star Wars was done in Marvel Comics actually, so at one point. So.
Yeah, but now it's done in Dark Horse.
Both really? Dark Horse.
I believe just Dark Horse now.
Oh, now.
Yeah, I didn't know it was ever done in Marvel.
Long time ago, I'm pretty sure it was done in Marvel. I have one somewhere.
I did not know that. I'm ashamed of myself.
I could be wrong. I could just be making that up. But it
You might
good,
be.
right?
Yeah, it sounded good. But at one point, it was definitely Dark Horse.
But anyway, on to the... Yeah, I think Donnie Yen did a good job. The other guy, I need to look his name. Donnie Yen, instantly, character's name, Chiru? Something like that?
It almost...
It sounded like Cheerio. Like every time he was talking, that's what I heard. I know that's not what the name is.
I heard Carrot, but, you know...
Did you really?
I did.
Did you really?
Every time.
That's
every time.
But his friend, Baze, something like that, Malbus. Yes, we just saw the movie.
And yes, we are fans.
I can guarantee you, when you watch the film, unless you are like super fanboy who looks at everything up like immediately to find out like pronunciations, you're gonna forget 90% of the names. And I can't tell you
was
really
rough.
why. You know, I mean, I don't. It was. Well, you know what? They didn't really get into the characters much.
Well, they didn't. Other than Jin, you never really knew any of the characters' backstories. Sorry, brain turned off for a moment there.
Galen. You heard Galen.
Yeah, you heard Galen. You heard where do you go? You just bump.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to knock it over.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to edit out that.
Random
sound.
thing. Peter Cushing did an amazing job.
Yeah, I know, right? For a man who
Talk about a
is
spoiler.
12
Peter
years
Cushing's
dead.
in it. 1994, man.
Yeah, 12. Oh, no, not 12 years dead. 22 years gone.
Crap, dude.
Yeah.
That's a long time, man.
He the CGI in the movie, especially with him, was phenomenal. It almost looked like Peter Cushing.
It legitimately. Now, to be fair, we watched it in 3D. I am not a huge fan of 3D movies.
Me
also,
neither.
too, I can't really I wasn't able to decide whether or not this movie was made for 3D. It looked kind of to me like it was just kind of added,
It did.
Like it was more, like the 3-dimensional portion of it was more depth than the whole coming out this way.
Right.
So, which kind of leads me to believe anyway that it was really made, kind of as a 2D film and then just converted. But so honestly, the 3D threw me off a little bit. I don't know how good the CGI really was on Peter Cushing.
It's true.
Because it's a little harder to see with the 3D thing on. That said, it took me a sec. The very first time you see him, Peter Cushing, if you don't remember from the original one, was help me out. Name.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
And it's like when you see him in this one, you have this brief moment of how but he's isn't he? No, he can't be here. Is really this really weird moment of this doesn't seem right, and then you kind of start picking the CGI in it, but it's really detailed.
It
the CGI
is
really detailed,
and especially in 3D. I'm not sure about Star, almost too detailed.
Yeah.
To where you can definitely tell it. Which is actually the same effect that I felt from the very end. Big spoiler, at the very end, you do see Princess Leia for about a split second. And I got the same look from her. Now, granted, from my understanding, and this is from, not going to lie, minimal research, but on IMDb, there is an actress credited to playing the role, not just a voice, actually playing the role. But I do kind of wonder if they didn't CGI her up a little bit to look more young Carrie Fisher.
They CGI'd it.
Yeah.
There's no... she does actually favor her a little.
She does, especially in the face, which, granted, dye and wig to get the buns. I mean, but she did really well for her 2 lines. It means there's hope.
It does. Yeah, it does. It means there's hope. I thought also too, though, that, it's kind of funny because like her scene. I mean, Tarkin was in it quite a bit.
He was.
I mean, he really was. It is not a small role.
No.
Leia was in there for like a split second, and I hate to say this, but I don't think they did as good a job. If there is no CGI in that, I find it really strange because she looks less real than Tarkin did.
Right.
Which I find very, very strange.
It was a little strange.
Yeah. It was almost like they just kind of threw her in. I mean, honestly, and when they do it, that's kind of how it feels too. It's like a very, very brief. The whole wrap up at the end actually was really quick.
It was, really, but it was needed, and I think it was done well.
No, I liked it. I don't mistake that for. I just think like it could have been. When I say quick, it felt kind of thrown together. I think it was done as well as it could. Of course, I don't know that. I mean, that opening scene from the original, it's kind of got that feeling to it, though. It's very hectic and very.
I was about to say, I think I might disagree with you on that.
Maybe that's just where it is. Maybe that's where I'm getting that from, though. Is like the original sequence is just thrown together is not really the right word, I guess. It's a very hectic thing. Like everything's just happening at once, and maybe that's why I got that out of that. I mean, like I liked it. I thought they did a great job, and I was actually really, really happy to see it. I just maybe it was just the Leia thing. I mean, honestly, something didn't seem right with Leia.
Well, and I do think that the pacing of the end did match the pacing of the beginning of the original Star Wars Episode 4: New Hope.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing was to establish that is what this movie was. That is what it led into. Yeah. That is what we got out of it. Now, we've talked a lot about several of the characters. We've talked about effects. We've talked about some of the plot. But
sorry, very briefly, since we mentioned Tarkin.
Yes.
I did bother to write this guy's name down, but Stephen Stanton, the voice of Tarkin is
perfect.
Absolutely amazing.
Sounds just like Peter Cushing.
Yeah, his work, I don't know if they changed it at all or not. If they did not, this guy is an amazing voice actor.
And if they did, the people who modified it are amazing.
Props to John Knoll, who actually did the special effects.
Absolutely.
Or did the supervision of the special effects.
Absolutely.
For Tarkin, anyway.
But so we've talked about characters. We've talked about the effects. We were talking earlier about the plot points. How it's not a cookie cutter movie.
No, it's totally new.
But do you know what it reminded me of? Are you familiar with the Halo games?
I am old.
You are.
No, I am not familiar with it. I know Halo. Like if Master Sergeant.
He doesn't know Halo.
No.
Master Chief.
Chief. I was close.
Nate.
Chief, Sergeant. The armory guy.
He's old.
Yeah, I'm old.
There was one of the games that came out was Halo Reach. I think there's like 3 or something now. One of the games that came out was Halo Reach. And Halo Reach was the story about the fall of Reach, which had been talked about in some of the games, and there was a book that was released on it. And basically everyone on Reach dies. So you have, and that is established at the beginning of the game. So you have this team that is on Reach that has one job, and you know that at the end of the game, every single person on that team is going to be dead. And that is exactly what, especially the second half of this movie, felt like.
Yeah, they killed off pretty much
everyone dies. They killed everybody other than the ones that we know survived to A New Hope. Everybody.
They killed off the entire team. Like the wow, huge spoiler. We told you.
We warned you.
We warned you. Spoilers.
You have no excuses.
The entire team dies.
If you complain in the comments, you deserve to be thrashed by everyone else.
Yeah, pretty much. the entire team dies. I mean, and you know, it was fair deaths, I think, for the most part.
And some of the deaths were.
Donnie was amazing.
Oh, his
I mean,
was
you know,
beautiful.
It really was. It was amazing.
Everybody did exactly what they needed to do and died.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have been written better if it were in a script.
Yeah. The only
Sorry.
God. The only thing I actually had a problem with the Krennic. Krennic. Again, the same
Yes.
sort of thing. At the very end, Krennic basically catches up to
Jen.
Jen, you know, and they have this moment, and you get this brief feeling that you're going to get some resolution.
Or backstory,
you know, or resolution to the little hints of backstory they've been
exactly.
giving you. And there's nothing. I mean, like,
no.
it's just nothing. And
he gets shot
and
dies.
And not by her, you know. It's
no, not by her.
That actually bugged me. And mind you, all my complaints on this movie are really honestly minor, like really,
yeah, they
really
are
minor.
And I'm the same way. I mean, my biggest complaints are Darth Vader. And James Earl Jones, which granted is a minor thing because he is a phenomenal actor, and it was interesting to see this slightly different side of Darth Vader that maybe there's an explanation for. That and
C-3PO or R2-D2 fanfare.
Okay. I'm better with that now.
Are you? Are you better now?
There's a small cameo by our two favorite droids
I thought it
from
was
the
okay.
Star Wars
Honestly,
universe.
I actually thought that one was just fine.
It
brief.
does make sense.
It is very brief. It is certainly fan service. I mean, there's you can't really get around that, but it still makes sense. It's not just fan service. I mean,
it's not like they wouldn't have been there
right.
at that time. We know they were there because they ended up on the Corellian Corvette with Leia. So that actually worked out perfectly.
Oh, we didn't mention Alan Tudyk.
No, and we should. K2SO was the best character in this movie.
I would actually agree. Which is kind of funny because you have a CGI character that kind of just steals it.
Oh yeah. Another beautiful death at the end of it.
You know what? CGI character that completely steals a movie and doesn't ruin it.
Not Jar Jar.
For Jar Jar, at least a little. No, it doesn't really make up for Jar Jar.
Nothing will make up for Jar Jar.
But still, it was. You know, I mean, he was a wonderful character.
Mm-hmm.
Reprogrammed Imperial droid.
Oh yeah.
Have that right? Okay. Yeah. And he's just a lot of fun. I mean, he is funny. Which Alan Tudyk's kind of funny anyway. He's got a great sense of humor. But am I pronouncing his name wrong?
I have
this
no
horrible
idea.
feeling that I'm butchering it. Which is
I actually think you might be right.
I'm actually a fan.
Yeah, he's great.
I like him as an actor. But
loved him in Firefly.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. But did we actually say he's the voice? Anyway, he's the voice.
He's the voice.
Yeah, he's the voice of K2SO. And the death of him at the endish, not quite
was
the end,
quite heroic.
It really was. It was like, I mean, I felt bad. You know, I legitimately, like, I knew it was coming. I mean, it is so painfully obvious that he's
all of
gonna
those
sacrifice
deaths
himself.
are.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, like, it was a little heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean,
it was. But you know who his character reminded me of? R2-D2 if R2-D2 could speak English.
Much bigger, but
much bigger. But personality-wise, that's because he was snarky.
You know,
almost mean snarky.
You know,
and it was pleasant.
You know what? I hate to say this, but I don't disagree like completely.
Okay.
But how I viewed him was actually a combination of the two.
R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Because he complained a bit. You know, he had that kind of.
He did.
Little,
he had a bit of the.
Slightly whiny, not as bad. I mean,
oh gosh, I can't remember the name. The robot from.
Wall-E.
No.
T-1000.
No, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Marvin.
Marvin. Yeah.
He reminded me of
I could
Marvin
see
at
that. I
times.
could actually see that. Yeah.
A mix of Marvin and R2D2.
That's actually better than the C3PO thing. Yeah. Because I didn't quite feel right about that, but he had that. I mean, you see where I was going
Yeah.
with it. He had
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Slightly complaining. Like,
He wasn't.
like he had that moment where it's like, well, she gets a gun. Why don't I get a gun? You know, and I think
Which was
didn't he
beautiful.
even say something? He had a line that was almost straight out of C3PO's book at one point in time in the movie. And,
Oh, talking about statistics, the odds.
that might have been
Yeah. Droid stuff, you know. No big deal.
droids. But you know what? He is, I think, the droid we were looking for.
Yes. Yes.
That's not too bad.
One more quick thing before we wrap this up.
Okay.
Give me a moment. The other main character, Cassian.
We didn't
dude.
mention him at all,
We did not mention him at all. And I don't want to talk about him too much because honestly, he was a little bit of a flat character.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he was okay, but no, I hate to agree with that. I really do,
But there was one thing I loved from him. And I don't know if you caught this. The very first scene that we see him when he's in the little alley with his informant,
right.
Cassian definitely shot first.
He did. Yeah.
And it was beautiful because it felt like the perfect solution.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
Because there was not a second shot. He straight up killed him in the street.
Other than that, you're right though.
He was very flat.
It was kind of weird because like it wasn't. I wouldn't view that as the actor's fault. Like it wasn't, and it wasn't like the character was portrayed flatly.
Right. Yeah.
He was just written flatly. I mean, it was like I had to look at that. Diego Luna, the actor that played him, I think honestly did about as well as he could with what he had. But the dialogue really wasn't there. You know, I mean, the backstory really wasn't there.
Had no backstory. They tried to build a bit of a romance between him and Jen, which
failed.
well, not completely, because
really took his
life or
tomatoes.
death situation, I could see how it could happen. And it wasn't in your face about it, so that wasn't really an issue. But other than that, yeah, you had no backstory, you had no development. Which, granted, it's a character who was written up to die. So
To be fair, that's all of these characters were made that way.
It's true.
Which is weird. I mean, honestly, it's a weird movie in that sense.
It is.
Like, I mean, these are not permanent characters, and none of them are meant to be permanent.
Sorry, it is late, like he was saying
All
earlier.
of them were literally written to be killed.
Yep.
You know, which is, in some cases, kind of a shame. I mean, like, given the amount, the very, very short time that we get to know these characters, some of them you really, really get to like. You know, K2SO, for me, Carrot. You know, actually for me, really those two. Those two characters kind of just, I think took the movie. I mean, I really
They did.
You know?
And they were very good. But I tell you what, I think that just about does it for Rogue One.
Yeah.
Now,
Transformers trailer.
another time.
Another time.
Thank you all for joining us to watch this. As some of you will probably know, this is our first review video, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments. What we did well with this, what you wish we would do differently. We're still learning as we go through this process, trying to figure everything out the way that we like to do it. If you want to see more things like this, like when the next new movie comes out, which I believe is Assassin's Creed that we've talked about.
I want to see it. Actually.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about that. Or any of the other movies. There's like 5 movies coming out in March that I really want to see.
Movies coming out really short.
Yeah.
That I'm really interested in. Yeah.
But let us know, and we'll try to get around to that. We're not going to be able to pull all-nighters every week, but we'll see what we can do with that. We definitely want to do
We
this one.
absolutely want to warn you to about this movie or about this particular episode. There are spoilers in this episode about Rogue One. So if you have not seen the film,
Don't watch it.
don't watch this. Don't watch this episode.
Well, you know, I guess I already screwed that one up.
What's that?
I mean, the episode's done now. They kind of already screwed it up. They've watched through all those spoilers.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I'd warn them one more time. I mean, because if they watched it,
I think they know by
we did
now.
it like 8 times, like at the beginning. I figured
I
one
think
more just to
more
put the
than that.
nail in the coffin, and just to really, really, really let you know that if you didn't want to watch this film, or I'm sorry, if you didn't see the movie and you are upset about spoilers,
Sucks to be you.
you're an idiot. I mean, I hate to say that. I don't like saying that about anybody, but in this case,
No,
it's
that's
kinda
fair.
true, right?
Yeah, no, completely fair. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, we are Orc Rogues.
Do you think they know we had spoilers?
Gosh, I hope so.
Well, they know now.
Well, we might should have warned him one more time.
I don't know. Some people are pretty dense. Bye.
Bye.
The God. The video's over now.
Go home.
Go home.
Oh, you probably are home.
It's late. Go to. It might not be late.
Chicago.